Facebook is announcing more changes to the site.
In a post yesterday, the social media network introduced more changes to its news feed in an effort to find and remove false information quicker. An article by Wired titled "Facebook is changing news feed again to stop fake news" breaks down exactly what they are changing. Izzy Lipowski is the author of that article, as well as a senior writer for Wired and a CBS News contributor, and she is here. Welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So explain these new changes, what's going on. I mean, every day Facebook is in the news and they're coming up with new ways, new ideas, but we still keep seeing the same old, same old.
Right. So there are two big changes coming to Facebook. They announced a bunch of stuff, but in my mind, two most important things. One has to do with conquering this idea that you can start a website out of nowhere and get tons and tons and tons of traffic on Facebook. We've all seen this. These fringe sites, these hyper-partisan sites, they're getting tons of attention on Facebook. Elsewhere, nobody's really paying attention to them. So Facebook wants to change this. They say, we want to promote more authoritative sources in the newsfeed. So what we're going to do is we're going to analyze links across the web, not just on Facebook, but on other websites too. And we're going to see if people are getting more attention on Facebook than they are on the rest of the web, then maybe we're going to shift the balance a little bit. Maybe we're going to downrank this website. And so what they hope that will do is eliminate the spread of these fringe hyperpartisan sites. But obviously that's pretty controversial because Facebook has always been a place where you go to sort of get that attention and all voices can be heard. So that's going to be really controversial. They also are making some changes to how they moderate groups. Now, groups are really tricky for Facebook because a lot of times they're private, a lot of times they're closed. So they rely on people to report bad stuff in them. But if you're part of a group that shares a lot of bad stuff, you might not have a problem with that. So Facebook is now going to look at some more signals from the moderators of those groups. Have they shared misinformation? Have they approved posts that were later taken down? They're going to look at all of these signals together to determine whether groups should be taken down.
What's the click gap feature?
I've never heard of it.
So the click gap is what I was referring to, where Facebook's going to look at all these links across the web. And they're going to say, is there a gap here? Is there a gap between what we're seeing on Facebook and the number of links this website is getting on Facebook and the number of links it's getting across the web? And if there's a gap, we're going to use that as a signal to say, should this website really be getting all the attention that we're giving them in newsfeed?
I know they have to do something, but I hear that and I just think that's going to sort of put the kibosh on any sort of emerging discussion, because in the beginning, these groups are going to be small, but we don't know what might potentially be a large group that many people find important.
Well, a great example is BuzzFeed, right? So BuzzFeed has grown into a really reputable, important news organization. In its earliest days, it was just gaming Facebook. It was just figuring out what people liked on Facebook. And so the question is, how important is ClickGap going to be to newsfeed rankings, and will it prevent the next BuzzFeed from being discovered on Facebook? Facebook's obviously choosing a side here between promoting those emerging voices and preventing the emerging voices that we don't want to see on Facebook, and they're erring on the side of caution.
It's really interesting. What about Instagram, Facebook Messenger, other apps that Facebook also owns? Are they trying to implement any kind of changes as well?
So we didn't hear a ton about Instagram. They said that, on Instagram, we're going to start diminishing the reach of any content that doesn't necessarily violate our policies, but gets kind of close to that edge. But this is something they've announced before, and there aren't great signs as to their success on that front so far. On Messenger, they're introducing a few smaller changes. One is going to try to address the problem of impersonation. So they're going to introduce verification badges on Messenger. And they're also going to introduce something called a forward indicator. So if you've gotten a message from somebody that was forwarded on, sort of like the modern day chainmail, then they're going to let you know that this is a forwarded message. Now, the message can still spread to a ton of people, but at least you have more information about where it originated.
When I saw the headline of your article, I thought to myself, again. First, I thought, again. And then I thought, I guess this is the new norm, because inevitably the people who put out, sort of garbage pages are just going to modify their behavior to deal with whatever Facebook does. So will you be back again, next week to talk about another change?
Probably. And I think it's, I hope so. I think it's a good thing that Facebook Facebook is making progress, right? We don't want them just standing still. We saw what happened for so many years when they decided we're going to be hands off, we're going to be neutral, we're not going to touch this stuff. And it had some bad unintended consequences. And so the fact that they are having to make these constant announcements, we might get tired of them, but hopefully that's all headed toward progress.
Right. Also mandatory, a whole bunch of people are going to revolt because no one ever likes when their newsfeed changes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Exactly right.
Yeah, but it's all for a good cause.
Izzy Lipowski, so great to have you, Izzy. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week when you write your next article about Facebook. Coming up after the break. The latest on